Most people don't know what 2:30 in the morning feels like unless they've worked overnights or driven the back roads between small towns in winter. It's a different kind of dark. Not just lightless, but empty, like the world forgot to load. That's where Daniel was. A stretch of interstate, somewhere between Wyoming and Nebraska. One lane each way. No cell service, just static on the radio and frost crawling up the corners of his windshield. He wasn't a trucker, just a warehouse guy doing a delivery run someone else bailed on. A few pallets, some supplies, nothing fancy. His car had good tires and a full tank. He wasn't worried. Until he saw it. Hazards blinking in the median. A white van. Older model, looked abandoned. He slowed, instinctively, old habits from his days in the army, and scanned for movement. Then he saw the door was open, just slightly. And a child. A girl, maybe 6 or 7, sitting inside, knees pulled to her chest, her face pale in the wash of his headlights. He pulled over fast, grabbing the flashlight from his glove box. No cell bars. He got out. The cold hit him like a slap. His boots crunched frozen gravel as he stepped toward the van. "Hey," he called. "You okay, sweetheart?" No response. He got closer. The girl didn't move. Still, silent, staring forward. Daniel's breath came slower. His fingers tightened on the flashlight. Then he saw the phone on the dashboard, propped up, playing a loop of a child crying. The girl wasn't real. Daniel took a slow, silent step back from the van. That wasn't a child crying. It wasn't even live. Someone had queued up a sound file, set the phone on loop, and left it there for someone to find. Someone like him. His breath came sharper now, turning white in the air. He scanned the woods. Dense pines. Too many shadows. He switched off the flashlight. Something in the air shifted. He backed toward the shoulder, toward the cover of his own car, but stayed low and quiet. His instincts were screaming now. This wasn't just a setup, it was coordinated. Then he heard it. A snap. Not behind him. To the left. He spun and ducked, gun raised. Silence again. Not even wind. Then a whisper. Like feet on dry leaves. He crouched near the driver's side of the van, pistol steady, pulse thumping in his ears. The crying loop stopped. Total silence. Then another sound, a quiet scrape, like metal on gravel. He rose slowly, scanning with the flashlight. Nothing. And then a figure darted across the road behind his car. Fast, too fast to get a good look, but not fast enough to miss the glint of something in its hand. Daniel didn't shout. He dropped to his knee, aimed toward the direction it went, and whispered to himself, "There's more than one." He moved quickly now, sticking to the shadows, circling back toward his car from the opposite side. Every few seconds he stopped and listened. Footsteps, somewhere behind the van. He crept toward his vehicle, reached the door, then froze. Footprints, fresh ones, leading to his driver's side. He cursed under his breath. They were already there. Suddenly, a shape moved inside the van, in the rearview mirror's reflection. Someone was watching him. Daniel didn't hesitate. He dove back, using the side of the van as cover, then crouched and sprinted to the front of his car. His pistol was up, safety off. That's when the first voice rang out, calm and grating. "Shoulda kept driving, man." And from the other side of the road, another voice, this one younger, colder. "Now it's too late." Daniel's lungs burned, his boots slipping on the uneven forest floor. The darkness was thicker here, like the trees were trying to swallow light. He could still hear them behind him, not running now, but walking, spreading out. Then, a voice much closer than the rest. "You're not gonna make it, cop." Daniel pivoted, flashlight off, gun raised. Nothing. Branches snapped behind him. He spun again, and pain exploded at the back of his head. His vision went white, then black. When Daniel came to, everything was wrong. He was cold. The ground was metal. His arms were behind him, tied with something thick, plastic, zip ties. His legs were bound too. He tried to move, but every shift sent bolts of pain through his skull. He was in the back of the van. The doors were closed now. The crying had stopped. Instead, he heard soft breathing. He rolled slightly to one side and saw someone, a teenage boy, maybe 16, duct tape over his mouth, eyes swollen and red. They were tied the same way. Daniel nodded to him, whispering, "I'm getting us out of here." The boy didn't nod back. He just trembled. Then the door opened, and the light poured in. 3 of them. 2 from earlier, masked now. One with a hunting knife, the other with a baseball bat. And a third, quiet, broad-shouldered, clean-shaven, no mask. The leader. He stepped in and knelt beside Daniel. "Thought you were a tough guy," he said. "Didn't expect you to come toward the bait. Most people don't." Daniel said nothing. "You were a cop, right? You guys always think you're above danger." He gestured to the teen. "Picked him up 2 hours before you. He tried to run. Got caught. You just walked right into it." Daniel clenched his jaw. "We're not gonna kill you," the man said, almost amused. "Yet, but we are gonna make sure you can't go anywhere. Then we're gonna see who else comes by tonight." He stood, grabbed Daniel by the collar, and dragged him halfway out of the van. Daniel let his body go limp. The man leaned in, whispering, "Takes a special kind of stupid to play hero out here." That's when Daniel struck. His head snapped forward, catching the man right in the nose. Cartilage crunched. The man screamed and fell back. Daniel rolled to the side, wedging his zip-tied wrists against the van's edge, and pulled hard. The plastic cut into his skin, but gave way just enough for him to slip one hand free. He grabbed the nearest thing, the flashlight, and swung upward. Blackout. Again. Daniel woke again, this time to pain in his shoulder and a hot, buzzing light in his face. He was still in the van. Alone. The teen was gone. His mouth was dry, his heart hammering now, not just from fear, but rage. Outside, he heard voices. The 2 men arguing. "I told you he was playing possum." "I thought he was out. You want to go back in there and finish it?" "Boss said no killing until he says." Their footsteps moved off. Daniel sat up, testing his hand again. Blood ran down his wrist, but the tie had loosened enough in the last scuffle. He yanked hard, skin tearing, but the tie gave way. Free. He slipped the second tie from his legs. Then he moved to the rear of the van and quietly pushed the door open an inch. He peeked out. They had moved the van off the road into a small clearing hidden by tall brush. A fire pit smoldered nearby, a fold-out table, coolers, ropes. They'd done this before. Daniel spotted the teen. He was tied to a tree, still conscious, eyes locked onto the firelight. His hands shook. Daniel scanned the area. The leader was gone, probably scouting or checking the road. The two lackeys were near the fire, one tending a bandage on his nose. This was the moment. He slid out the van's back, staying low, moved behind the brush, stepped quiet, slow. It was a little past 2 a.m. when Jordan first saw him. He was driving westbound on Route 86, halfway through a 7-hour haul from his cousin's wedding in upstate New York back to Pittsburgh. No streetlights, no traffic, just Jordan, his '08 Civic, and the soft crackle of a radio station losing its signal. The hitchhiker stood just past mile marker 211, tall, thin, wearing a hoodie and jeans. At first, Jordan barely noticed him, but something about the man's posture caught his eye, rigid, statue-like. Not even his thumb was out, he just stood there. Jordan passed without slowing. A few yards later, he checked his rearview. Still there. Perfectly still. He shook it off. Too much coffee, he muttered. An hour passed. The road grew narrower, surrounded by trees and occasional fences. Then he saw him again. Same hoodie, same jeans, same posture, same man. Standing just past mile marker 228. Jordan's stomach knotted. Was that the same guy? It couldn't be. No one could walk that fast, not at night, not over 17 miles of nothing. He told himself it was a coincidence. A truck must have dropped the guy off, or there were two men who looked alike. But still. The next hour, he didn't take his eyes off the shoulder of the road. And sure enough, at mile marker 247, there he was again. This time closer. The man's face was still hidden by the shadow of his hood. He wasn't facing traffic, just slightly angled toward the trees. Jordan's pulse quickened. He passed without slowing. He didn't check his mirror this time. Didn't want to see if the man had turned. The road stretched on, each mile sign now a countdown of dread. It was nearly 4 a.m. when Jordan noticed a flashing sign up ahead. Road work ahead. Expect delays. Then a second sign. Detour, local route only. His GPS rerouted. No choice. He turned off the highway and onto a 2-lane back road that snaked through thick pine forests. Just as he rounded the third curve, his headlights lit up the shoulder, and the hitchhiker was there again. But this time, he was facing Jordan directly, and smiling. Jordan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. That smile wasn't casual. It was wide, too wide. Teeth that didn't quite match the expression in his eyes. It wasn't a grin. It was a threat. Jordan accelerated, tires humming louder on the uneven road. The forest swallowed the rearview, but that image stayed with him, locked in his brain like an afterimage burned on film. He turned the radio up, static hissing between faint voices. Even talk radio would have helped, but nothing came in this deep. Just noise. He tapped his fingers on the wheel, then clenched them. Just some local weirdo, he said out loud, voice hollow in the car. But why had he seen the guy 3, no, 4 times? The road narrowed again. Tree branches loomed like arms reaching down. The yellow glow from his headlights caught movement up ahead. Something small, low to the ground. A raccoon darted out. He swerved slightly, heart jumping into his throat, but the car stayed straight. Then another sign. Rest area 1 mile. He didn't need gas, but he needed to breathe, think, get his head on straight. He pulled in 5 minutes later, parking under a dead fluorescent lamp. Only one other car in the lot, a long abandoned pickup truck covered in leaves and dust. Jordan cut the engine. Silence. He stared into the woods lining the rest area. Dark, dense, impenetrable. And then he saw it. In the tree line. That same hoodie. Barely lit. The man. Standing there. Still. Not moving. Jordan locked his doors. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't normal. This was something else. Jordan didn't get out of the car. He sat motionless, eyes locked on the figure at the tree line. The man didn't move, not a twitch, just that pale hoodie in the shadows, lit faintly by the distant flickering lamplight. Minutes passed. Still, no movement. Jordan's breath fogged the windshield. He tapped his phone screen. 1 bar of signal. He thought about calling 911, but what would he say? That guy keeps showing up, in different places. He never moves. It sounds crazy. He flipped his phone camera to zoom in. The man was still there. Same stance, same impossible stillness. Jordan took a screenshot. Then blinked. The image on the phone, no figure, just trees. He looked back. The man was still there, in real life. He looked at the photo again. Gone. His stomach flipped. He threw the car into reverse, tires screeching as he backed out. A quick turn, and he was back on the road. The next 20 miles were a blur. Every road sign blurred with motion. Every curve sharpened his fear. He didn't see the hitchhiker again, not right away. But the feeling didn't leave. It sat with him, like a weight, like a presence in the car. When he hit the next town, Jordan pulled into a diner lot. This time, he got out, went inside, ordered coffee just to stay around people. Bright lights, warm smells. But as he waited, something gnawed at him. He walked to the bathroom at the back of the diner, pushed open the door, and nearly screamed. In the mirror, behind the sink, behind his reflection, stood the man. Same hoodie, same stillness. No expression this time, no smile. Just eyes. Jordan spun around. The bathroom was empty. He looked back at the mirror. No one. Just him. But the bathroom door creaked shut slowly behind him, and the air had gone cold. Jordan didn't wait for his coffee. He left the diner, got back in the car, and drove. His hands were shaking. Now the night felt heavier, like something was clinging to the car itself. He didn't dare look in the rearview, not again. It was almost dawn when the road climbed into fog-covered hills. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. He stared at it, let it go to voicemail. A minute later, it rang again. Same number. This time, he answered. Hello? Silence. Then static. Then a voice. Whispering, distorted. You saw me. Jordan slammed the phone down on the passenger seat. No, this isn't real. He pulled over, nearly hyperventilating. When he finally looked up, his headlights had caught something. Someone. Standing in the middle of the road, just yards ahead. It was the hitchhiker, but not standing still this time. He was walking, slowly, toward the car. Jordan threw it in reverse, but the engine stuttered, died. He twisted the key. Nothing. The man kept walking, closer. Jordan grabbed his phone. No service again. He looked up. Only feet now. The hoodie's shadow hid the man's face, but not his hands. They were wrong. Too long. Fingers that bent in strange angles. Jordan screamed. Suddenly, the lights around him blinked out. Total darkness. Only the sound of gravel under slow footsteps. Then, silence. Jordan woke up in his car. Daylight. Sunlight streamed through the windshield, burning his eyes. No fog, no man. Just the car, parked on the side of the road. He sat there for a long time. Then he drove home, got out, and asked the attendant if they'd seen anything strange on the road last night. The guy just laughed. "You're not the first to ask." Jordan blinked. "What do you mean?" "There's stories about that road. People seeing someone, standing still. Same guy, different places, but he never moves. Not unless you stop." Then, the man trailed off. Jordan's throat went dry. "Then what?" The man shook his head. "Then they don't come back." Jordan didn't reply. He drove home in silence. He doesn't talk about that night, won't drive that highway, covers the mirrors in his house after dark. And he never, ever stops for anyone on the road. Because sometimes, what's standing still is just waiting for you to stop. It was almost 1:15 in the morning when Clara merged onto the interstate. The sky was a curtain of black, not a single star in sight, the moon smothered by low, moving clouds. Her headlights carved a narrow tunnel through the dark, revealing empty asphalt and white lane markings stretching on forever. She hadn't meant to drive this late. Her sister had begged her to come up for the weekend, and Clara's job at the vet clinic had run over. By the time she packed, gassed up, and hit the road, the night had already deepened. Still, she liked driving at night. Usually, it was peaceful, calming, until she noticed the car behind her. At first, it was nothing, a pair of headlights cresting a hill in the distance. Then, for the next 20 miles, it never passed, never dropped back, just kept pace. Every time she checked the rearview mirror, there it was, two pale yellow orbs fixed behind her, like eyes that didn't blink. She changed lanes. So did it. She slowed down. It slowed too. She sped up. It followed. Now her fingers tightened on the wheel. She glanced at her phone mounted to the dash. No service. Great. Probably just a coincidence, she muttered. But her heart didn't buy it. It had started thudding in her chest like a slow warning drum. 10 more minutes passed. The car stayed behind her. Another lane change. Another mirrored move. She flicked off her music. The silence made everything worse. Her breathing sounded loud. The tires hummed like static. The headlights behind her flashed. Once, then again. Her stomach twisted. She tapped her brakes. The car didn't back off. It stayed locked to her speed like it was leashed. She scanned for exits, but there weren't any. Just mile markers and empty rest areas. Then a sign. Last exit before tunnel, 2 miles. She didn't remember a tunnel on this stretch. She made her decision. Take the exit. But the second she flicked her turn signal on, the car behind her gunned it. It shot ahead, just far enough to block her exit, then slowed. She gasped, stayed on the main road. The brake lights flashed red and menacing. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a game. And she'd just lost the first move. The road dipped into a dark, forest-lined highway. The tree branches interlocked, forming a canopy that blocked the sky. The car ahead, the car, was still there. Brake lights glowing like eyes. It was slowing. Clara tapped her brakes. The other car hit its brakes hard. She swerved, avoiding a crash, horn blaring. The car sped back up. She didn't know what kind of person would do this. Maybe road rage, but it felt more calculated. What if they were trying to make her crash? The car swerved into the left lane and dropped back. Behind her again. Its high beams snapped on, searing light cutting into her eyes. She veered, overcorrected. She flicked her mirror up, but light still poured through the side mirrors. Then, finally, a break. A green sign, gas, food, motel, exit 17, 1 mile. She turned off her headlights for a second, veered off. The car missed the move. She flew down the ramp toward the glowing gas station. Deserted. She pulled in, killed the engine. Silence. Then, headlights. The same car entered the lot. It circled, parked far away, watching. She stepped out, trying to act normal, and rushed inside. "Hello?" she called. No answer. Behind her, the bell jingled again. Through the window, the sedan door opened. A figure climbed out. From her own car's back seat. She screamed. She bolted from the store's side exit, sprinted across the lot. Her keys trembled. She dove in the car, locked the doors. The back door had been open. She slammed it, started the engine, peeled out. Back onto the highway. She thought she was free. Then, headlights. The sedan had found her again. She floored it. Gaslight blinked. No exits for 22 miles. A narrow dirt path appeared. She yanked the wheel. Bushes scraped, gravel sprayed. She killed her lights and waited. Then, crunching gravel. The sedan followed. Lights off. Door opened. Footsteps. She slid her seat forward, triggering the horn. He jumped. She floored it and escaped into the darkness. No lights followed. But silence wasn't comfort anymore. It was dread. She found another gas station, newer, empty. She bought water, nodded at the cashier, didn't speak. Back in the car, silence. Then, breathing. She looked in the mirror. A woman sat in the back seat. Still, pale, grinning. Clara screamed, bolted out. Turned back. Empty. No indentation, no woman. But she knew. Something had been there. Maybe still was. She didn't go home. Drove for hours. Eventually, a roadside motel. Paid in cash. Room 6. Chair under the handle, lights on. Mirror covered. Still, footsteps. Chair moved. She didn't scream. Too tired, too scared. The thing wasn't following her. It was inside. Because she noticed. Because she looked back. She left the next morning, never told anyone. Never drove at night again. Never looked in the rear view. Because sometimes, the thing you're running from is already in the car. If this story got under your skin, like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from. And remember, when the road's empty, you're not always alone.